Hello everyone, this is our game analysis database project. This was created by Mahita, Devang, Landon, and Kenny. So the motivation for this application is pretty simple. Our client and lots of other gaming companies are basically seeking insight into the market of video games. They want to better improve their development, sales strategies, and just have better planning for the future. This database was originally collected by Dr. Joe Cox and has thousands of data points on video games. So what we're doing for our client is basically taking this data, cleaning it up a little, analyzing it, and then finding value using our program. The overall goal is to understand how video games are doing in the market, first of all, easily understand the data that is available on the games, answer a variety of questions to help the game business make decisions. That's the biggest thing. That is why we're hired. We want this application to give them information so they can make business decisions. On top of that, we also were hoping to kind of make connections between data points that historically aren't really being made. Things such as the game ratings and how that affects the length of the game and vice versa. Data points that aren't typically associated, and learning how they are associated in the real world.
For the structure of our database, we decided to go with 4 separate packages based off the area of business that our questions pertain to. The first is a sales analysis package, which holds all functions and procedures that deal with the amount of sales the games amounted to from their date of release. The second is the ratings analysis package, which holds all functions and procedures that deal with the ratings that each game has received since its release from critics and the various users who have used it. Third is the genre analysis package, holding a procedure to find which is the most popular genre sold in the year of all games released in that year. Finally, our last package is the platform analysis package, containing functions and procedures to determine how the platform a game had released on affected its degree of success from the day of its release to the day of these data taken.
Question 1. How are total sales made on a game related to the year the game was released? I chose to create a function named sales calculation with 2 input parameters, the year the game was released and the title of the game. I thought a function would be the most appropriate as the return value labeled total sales is a dollar amount that can be used in other queries. The function selects the sum of sales and passes it into the variable total sales, which also uses an inner join to retrieve the sales, genre, and title values, which are all in different tables. An example of a output would be the title of the game was Super Mario 64 DS with a release year of 2004. This game made a total of 4.69 million in sales. Question 2. What is the average metric review score of a given genre in a particular year? So I chose to create a function named overall rating with 2 input parameters, the genre of the game and the year that the game was released. I thought a function would be the most appropriate as it would result in a return value labeled overall rating. This numeric value can then be used when comparing games of different overall ratings. The function performs an aggregate calculation and passes the average rating score for a game of specific genre and year. For example, it was found that the ratings were highest for games in the strategy genre in the year 2004.
Question 3. Question 3 answers the question, what is the most popular selling genre over the course of a few years? To answer this, we use a procedure with 2 input parameters, one dictating the from year and the second dictating the end year for the range which we are looking to answer. The procedure works by running a while loop around a query which looks to find the maximum sales of the particular year by genre. This is then output to the user before the loop is taken into the next iteration. For example, using the years 2004 to 2006, simulation was the most popular selling game genre in 2004, racing was the most popular selling in 2005, probably due to Mario Kart being released, and action RPG was the most popular selling in 2006.
Question 4. Question 4. How does the maximum number of players that can play a game vary with the platform that this particular game was released for? So I created a function named number of players with two input parameters, the platform of the game and the title of the game, to compare how different games vary the maximum number of players that are allowed to be playing the game at one time. So a function would be the most appropriate, as it would result in a numeric value labeled number of players. This numeric value can then be used when comparing different numbers of maximum players in various games. The function selects the value of maximum number of players and passes this value for a specific platform and title.
Question 5 states, do single-player games sell more than multiplayer games per year? I decided to use a procedure because the output is not numerical, it's a descriptive answer. I decided to use one input, that being the year that is in question, and I used 4 variables to help me throughout this entire procedure. I used 2 select blocks in this. The first select block gathers the release year and the max number of sales that were sold in that release year. The second select block finds out if the max number of sales corresponds to a single player or multiplayer games. Then I use the if-else block to output the correct output, whether or not the single player game sold more or the multiplayer game sold more. Question 6 states, which platform received the most money given a year? I used a procedure because this requires a descriptive answer. I separated this procedure into 2 select blocks. The first gathers the total number of sales, or the sum of the total number of sales that corresponds to the year that is in question. And the second select block finds the platform that corresponds to the sum of the total sales. And then I use DBMS output to output the platform that received the most money given a year. Question 7 states, what platform is the least successful in a given year? Or what platform is selling the least number of games? I decided to use a procedure because this requires a descriptive answer. I used one variable, that being the year in the question. So the way I did this was by having 3 select statements, 2 of them being inner select statements. The innermost select statement corresponds the total number of sales according to each platform. The second select statement finds the minimum of those total sales per that platform, and the outermost select statement corresponds the minimum total sales to the specific platform. That way I'm able to find the platform that is least successful in a given year. Question 8 states, what platform is the most successful in a given year? Or what platform is selling the most number of games? This is very similar to question 7, except instead of a minimum, we're finding the maximum. So again, I'm using 3 select statements. The innermost select statement corresponds the total count of the total sales according to the platform. Then the second finds the max of the total sales. And then finally, the outermost select statement corresponds the max number of total sales according to the specific platform. That way I'll be able to find the platform that is the most successful in a given year.
So for question 9, our goal was basically to find out whether games in general sell better depending on what console they are released for. The way we did this was we used the procedure and took basically the title of a game and then did a select statement so that we could get the title of the game, the total sales, and then the platform that that game is on. So then it gives you a list of basically title, sales, platform on all the different platforms that it is present on. That way we can easily and quickly look at the information to see where it sold the best, whether it was on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. We'll be able to quickly glance after this procedure is run and see which console it sold the best on. For question 10, we asked, what is the total sales of the longest game of any given year? For this, we created a procedure that took in basically the year you wanted to find, and then it gives you the title, the sales, the completion time that it takes, and then the year. We ran a select statement that basically found the max average length and then gives you the title, the sales of that max average length game of that specific released year. That way you will know what is the sales of basically the longest game that was created that year. So for question 11, we asked, what is the longest rated M for mature game and the longest rated E for everyone game? We achieve this by running a procedure that takes 2 rating inputs and then returns to you the title, the rating, and the length of both the longest games of those 2 rating inputs. So, for example, if I put a rated M and a rated E into the input, we will then be returned the longest rated M game first, and then second, it will return the longest rated E game. This is done through 2 separate statements that basically just find the max length, or the max average length of that rating, and returns to you the longest rated M game and longest rated E game for any given combination of inputs of ratings. So you could actually do T or A as well to find the longest.
In addition to the packages, we are also inserting an auditing trigger into the database. For this trigger, we created an extra table called Game Audit, which stores the date and the username of the user who insert into the game table. The trigger itself is performed after any update is performed on the game table. When it is performed, it is also automatically inserting into the game audit table the values of the date and the user who has performed the insert. This is an overview of our entire database, and hopefully you enjoyed our presentation, and thank you for watching.